Hello guys, welcome to another interesting video on Warframe. So this is going to be a relatively short video. I understand that in the past few videos it has been a little bit long, so that's why I'm trying to shorten it. It's not my intention to drag. Yeah, thank God I do not have an intro, right? So today's topic will be about Corrosive versus Shattering Impact. Because I saw people posting things, comments like, how Shattering Impact is, after seeing the video, how Shattering Impact is like so much better and stuff. But apparently that's not really the case. It really depends on the situation. Like for example, if you try to use a Shattering Impact on Galatine Prime, then you will definitely suffer because it doesn't attack very fast. And so today's video is actually to really just get down to that question between Corrosive and Shattering Impact. Which one is better in what case? And maybe at the end we can have a debate at the comments, and you can propose what weapon you think is best with which mod. Corrosive combo or Shattering Impact. Okay, now before we start, we have to understand, or rather find out, how many corrosive procs is required to fully remove all of the armor on an enemy. Okay, for this I have a separate video. It's more detailed. It tells you how I calculate, and basically it's a spreadsheet. And what we're gonna do in this video is to take the findings from that video, and more specifically just the heavy gunners and the bombards that has about 500 base armor, because they are the ones that will scale a lot in certain missions, and they are also the one that gives us the most problem and trouble killing. So from the findings, we know that if it has a base armor of 500, at level 135, it will take a Corrosive to do 34 times status proc in order to completely remove all of the armor, whereas Shattering Impact will take 84 times. So yes, Shattering Impact does seem to have a huge disadvantage in this scenario because it takes a lot more hits, but then you have to ask the question, how often does a Corrosive proc occur? Let's say for example the Legion, it has 100% status proc, so for that to happen you need to have the 4 dual stat status chance mods on. And this means that in order to get Corrosive, you will most likely have Blast as well, and then you have the slash damage, the puncture damage, and also the impact damage. Now the game does this. Any damage type that is non-elemental, which means the slash, the puncher, and the impact, they are 4 times more likely to proc than elemental procs. So just to give you an example, let's say we have slash damage of 100 and we have Corrosive at 200, and this weapon only has this 2 damage type. What will happen now is that the game will value the slash damage, although it's only 100, but it will be 4 times that amount, so it actually has 400 points rather than the Corrosive that has only 200. So in this scenario, even though slash is actually only 100 slash damage and Corrosive is 200, it will still proc slash more often than Corrosive because it consists of 400 points, sort of. Alright, so what happened is that you have less likelihood if you do not at least have 4 times more damage than the non-elemental damage types. Now let's say you remove all sorts of non-elemental damage. Okay, for example, the new weapon, the Omar, that doesn't have any non-elemental base damage type. So you could mod it such a way that it only has Corrosive and Blast, and with 30% status chance you could have 100% status chance if you mod it correctly. So based on Wiki, we know that we can only do up to 2 types of proc. And when I say up to, it means it could also only do 1 proc instead of 2, even with 100% status chance. So now, at this point, even though you have only 2 types of elemental damage, you could still have the risk of not proccing Corrosive if only 1 proc is chosen and it happens to not be Corrosive, then you will not be able to proc it, which again means that you lose 1 hit on something else instead of reducing the armor. So now the question comes down to, what do you need to really proc Corrosive every single time to have a weapon that is so consistent that you can compare with the consistency of a Shattering impact? And for this to happen, you need a weapon that has a status chance by default of at least 35%. Okay, and then you could mod with 2 dual stat status chance mods, and with some help of maybe melee prowess or enduring strike when you channel, in order to get 100% status chance with only Corrosive as your base damage. So since we are comparing with Shattering impact, we cannot take into account secondary weapons and also primary weapons. It has to be a melee weapon, and there is only 2 melee weapons that could fulfill all this requirement, which is the Lacera and also the Ninkundi. And among these 2, the Lacera definitely seemed like a better choice, but sadly, because of the low critical chance of only 2.5, is not viable for Blood Rush or Berserker. Otherwise, in my opinion, it would have scaled pretty well into late game. So this video is not about me and what I know, but instead is about you and what you have decided on based on what you have learned or discovered in this video. Please let me know at the comment section below, if you were to use Shattering Impact, what weapon would it be? And also, if you still have a weapon in mind that you will still run with Corrosive instead. Once again, have a pleasant day, and I'll see you at the comments. Bye bye.